2014. We'll begin on time. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Myers.
Here.
Joe Presley.
Here.
Rehas.
Here.
Hopper.
Here.
Lambert.
Here. All commissioners are present. Number 3, declaration of conflict of interest. And there is none. Number 4, communications.
None were received.
Okay. Number 5, homebound conditional forgivable loan approval.
Commissioners, this is for 2 homebound conditional forgivable loan approvals for Trey Bailey and Sergio and Ariel Ortega. Trey and Sergio. And they are both here today.
Welcome.
So, Mr. Bailey, how did you hear about the program?
From my realtor, actually.
What's your realtor's name?
Michael Mortimer from Remax.
Mike. And you, Mr. Ortega, how did you hear about the program?
Realtor. A realtor.
Your realtor?
Yes.
Who is your realtor?
Estela Lopez.
I know her too. Well, I'm a realtor, but yeah. Okay. So, I don't have.
You answer them all.
From Trey, you know, we see that you reside in Griffith. We appreciate you coming over to Hammond.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion for the homebound conditional forgivable loan approval for the 2 applicants.
I second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Myers.
Yes.
Joe Presley.
Yes.
Rehas.
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Welcome to Hammond, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 6, emergency program approval. Marjorie, is Marjorie here?
No, she's not here. I could not get a hold of her in time of the meeting. This was for an emergency loan. It's a deferred loan for her. She didn't have any heat, so it was an emergency situation, so it pretty much, she already has heat already in the home. But she was using space heaters to heat her home, so I'm glad we got somebody out of a situation like that.
Any more questions? No. No questions?
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I make a motion to approve the emergency program approval for the applicant and would ask that she would appear at a future meeting.
I second that.
That would be nice. Roll call, please.
Myers.
Yes.
Joe Presley.
Yes.
Rehas.
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present. Number 7, home program conditional loan approval.
Commissioners, this is for a home program for Mary Pyle at 7116 Monroe for a loan amount of $45,000. Mary is here today. Mary, you want to come up?
Welcome, Mary.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Awesome. Got some questions, commissioners? Discussion?
Yeah. Hi, Mary. Has the program been explained to you?
Yes.
And do you understand the terms of the program?
Yes.
Okay. And Mary, do you understand that the Hammond Redevelopment Commission only provides the funding? We do not guarantee or warranty the contractor or the contractor's work, and you have to do your own due diligence as far as that.
Yes.
Do you have any questions for us?
When can we get started?
Or you gotta talk to your contractor.
Okay. No, that's it.
Any more questions, commissioners?
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to make a motion then for the home program conditional loan approval for Mary Pyle,
Second.
Thank you.
7116 Monroe.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Myers.
Yes.
Joe Presley.
Yes.
Rehas.
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Number 8, approval of funding for the United Neighborhoods, Inc. Choto project at 7438 Beach.
Madam President, Commissioners,
handed you a proposed agreement between the City of Hammond Redevelopment Commission and the United Neighborhoods, Inc. for the rehab and subsequent sale of the property at 7438 Beach. The property was acquired through a donation from JP Chase Bank, and the proceeds that we will disperse through our home fund will be for the rehab and the development of that property into a habitable single-family dwelling. In seeking your approval for this, I have to add, and Ms. Barber is here to support this agreement, that this property fits very well with some other properties that we have. It adjoins our NSP3 area. It's less than a half a block away from all that development we see at Columbia Center. And it sits, a couple hundred feet away from another house that United Neighborhoods, Inc. has taken on as a project with our funding. So it fits very, very well into, what the department is trying to do in the city of Hammond. With that, seeking your approval for the agreement.
Questions, Commissioners? Discussion?
I got one question. Dennis, that street there, was that been redone? I can't remember. I want to say it might have been, but,
Hard to tell since I've been going out there the last month.
okay.
I really can't tell you.
No, Walnut was done, and
I want to
think
say,
it might have
no,
been.
I want to say no.
okay.
Okay, my best guess.
I was just curious.
Well, ask Ms. Barber, she's sitting there, she should know.
Okay.
No.
I don't either.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the funding for the United Neighborhoods, Inc. Chodo project at 7438 Beach Avenue.
I second that. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Myers,
Yes.
Presley,
Yes.
Rivas,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Number 9, determination of compliance with the redevelopment plan for Woodmar redevelopment sub-area of the Hammond Central redevelopment area for O'Reilly Auto Parts at 1640 165th Street.
Good evening.
Hello.
My name is Paul with Anderson Engineering from Springfield, Missouri. I just want to thank everyone for braving the weather. Well, it wasn't weather until now, so I braved you for the drive home. Thank you. We're the civil engineers on the project, and we're seeking your approval tonight for a new O'Reilly Auto Parts development right outside of the Home Depot lot on 165th. We are actually moving from the location that they're at now, which they do not own, that they're being kicked out. Well, leaving, moved, kicked out for a long time. We didn't say that, but they're having to leave. So we're constructing a new site that O'Reilly will own. It's a 7,700 square foot new building. We're looking at about 12 jobs total, varies 7 to 10 staff at a time. They're stable jobs. They're encouraged to be long-time employees, so that's good jobs for the area. We think it's a good fit with the Home Depot lot and it's consistent with the plan, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Have any questions or discussion, Commissioner?
So, may I ask, what happened to the I know the existing structure is there, I know you're there, but what happened?
I don't know. It's not owned by O'Reilly. That was something that they came into after they acquired another company in the past. And so I'm going to speculate that the layout isn't consistent with what O'Reilly wants, and perhaps they couldn't work something out with the property owner because it's not them. They're a company that likes to own property, which is pretty good for a city too, so they don't just blow out. They like to be in a community for a long time and be part of the community. So an opportunity was available for them to purchase, and they're proceeding with that.
Where's the current location?
It's just down the street, maybe a block or two.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's,
East of there.
you could probably hit it with a slingshot. Not that I would recommend that.
Okay, I think I know where it's at. Thank you. Any more questions or any discussion?
You don't go to the other parts, though.
I go to the other parts of the place there, yes, I do, but not to the auto.
We'll tell them to look for you coming in.
Okay, they better look for it. Any more questions, commissioners? Discussion?
Madam President,
Yes.
you do have the report from Mr. Poland, who
Okay.
I see,
Do you mind
well, I didn't
sharing a
ask
few
him.
things with us?
He's kind of presumptuous, he jumped right up there, but he does have I presume you've all read his report.
Yes.
And he does have a recommendation that you find that there is compliance with the redevelopment plan, subject to the approval of the commitment document being approved by the Plan Commission. So I suppose he wants to expound because he wouldn't have approached the dais if he
Welcome,
didn't
Brady.
want
Do you think I would not say anything?
Welcome, Brian.
All right. As stated, this is a new project for our Woodmar area. The redevelopment area, as it stated, is in the Hammond Central redevelopment area. That's what was recently created. It was an expansion of previous redevelopment areas, so that's where the core plan that we're looking at goes back to one of the previous versions of the redevelopment area. A lot of that language talks about strengthening the corridor, consistent with the architecture of the area, of course, appropriate parking and efficient circulation within the site and off-site. That particular point was one of the issues that we had in reviewing with the site plan, was making sure that the truck turning movements that for the delivery trucks, that those were functioning properly, and we had some concerns about that. We have since worked that out, but it has led to us to want to have a commitment document that would be approved by the Plan Commission in order to set the record clear as to how those truck movements were going to work, so there would be no vehicles driving into each other head-on. That document is almost in its final form. I didn't get confirmation from our attorney, but from what in our discussions with the consultant, there has been communications between O'Reilly's attorneys and our attorneys. I just don't know the exact final answer yet. And that document will go to the Plan Commission on the 18th. As far as the recommendation, one of the things we look at is, again, those particular points that I identified. Overall, the plan does comply with that, subject to getting that traffic thing worked out. So we do recommend that you make a determination of compliance with the redevelopment plan for the Woodmar sub-area of the Hammond Central redevelopment area, subject to the approval of the commitment document by the Plan Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please. Thank you, Brian.
Myers,
Yes.
Presley.
Yes.
Navejas,
Yes.
Aldridge,
Yes.
Hamburg.
Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present. Okay, number 10,
Have a safe trip.
You too.
determination of compliance with the plan for the downtown Hammond Urban Renewal District, number 1 for Hammond Pest Control at 644 and 702 through 714 State Street.
Madam President, we were expecting to have the attorney on this project at this meeting to make his presentation, and I do not see him here, because I spoke with him yesterday, and he, said he was going to be here. So I would ask that we table this at the moment, give him a few more moments, and just go on to the next item.
Thank you. The motion to table this item and give him a little more
I
time.
make a
Do
motion.
that.
don't,
Pardon
do it. Just go to the next item.
Okay.
You have the ability as the
Okay.
president to control the agenda.
All right, we'll just go to the next item then, which would be Determination of compliance with the plan for downtown Hammond, second one. Downtown Hammond Urban Renewal District 1 for engineered companies, Inc. at 472 and 475 Fayette Street.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is TJ Farentella, and I'm with the Engineered Companies.
Hi, TJ.
For the past 28 years, we've been located at 710 Michigan Street, which is behind the Elks Lodge, in a building that we didn't own, but we invested heavily in. And an estate planning decision prompted the decision to sell that building. For the past 28 years, we've been really content being in Hammond. In August, we bought the in July, bought the former Firestone Truck Center and moved our offices into the mezzanine level of the former Calumet National Bank. And without exaggeration, there isn't a day that goes by when an employee doesn't come to us and say, this has been a great move. We really like being here. We don't have visitors stopping by without being in awe of the facilities that we've got. The building is at 475 Fayette. The vacant lot is across the street at 472 Fayette. The address of the side door of the bank building is 400 Fayette, so we walk back and forth between the buildings several times a day. There are 5 of us who are permanently assigned to these buildings. When we decided to move, we wanted to be within walking distance of the Hammond Police Department because our experience with the Hammond Police is that they are great, which is one of the reasons what prompted us buying the building. And you should have a submission very similar to this. We believe strongly that the appearance of our facilities is a reflection on who we are as a company. The day we bought it, it looked like you see in attachment A. It was ugly. We wouldn't move into it in that shape, so we started cleaning it up very quickly. We abated the asbestos, we did roof repairs. We are constantly stripping garbage off of the building, cleaning it up. That's a pretty good idea of what it looks today without snow. As we continue our plans, the storefront we plan to do a complete renovation of. What this rendering doesn't show you, or it doesn't really spell out very clearly, is behind today's facade. We'll restore that facade, but 3 feet behind it will be a glass storefront that reflects through the facade. And in front of the windows is wrought iron, and between the wrought iron and the 3 feet glass windows will be little landscape areas. As we flip, when we made the commitment to purchase the building, we hadn't even seen the inside of the building. And we knew that the specifications would match nicely for what we need. It's 9,000 square feet. It's got a 2,500 square foot mezzanine. It's a much larger building than it looks. One of the things that I did was visit the First Baptist Church because I like what they've done around there. And I was stunned to see that from the front doors of the First Baptist Church, you saw this very ugly, what I call the alley facade. And they have these 2 enormous windows that look out over it. So we renovated the alley facade, and what you see in attachment D is what it looks like today. We never considered the possibility that you could dress up an alley, and it's really made a difference there. Everything that you see was done with permit and with permission of Brian Poland, Don Novak, Bill Talon, but it's particularly the vacant lot across the street that they'd like you to take a look at. And in exhibit or attachment E, you see what it looks like today. There are the fence lines that we want to modify as quickly as possible. We want our yard to look very good. We want the convoluted lines of that fence to go away and look more orderly. That fence was put in kind of to adjoin or follow the perimeter of a building that was torn down for code violation. Had you asked, in our conversations from the summer when we moved in, we thought we would put in a chain link fence, but the wooden fence that's across the street at 475 Fayette turned out to be so nice that we want to do one of those at 472 Fayette to completely screen everything from line of sight on Fayette Street. So our request today is, one, just a general review of the facility that we plan to develop at 472 Fayette that includes parking, repair of the fence lines that are currently existing along the bike trail, installation of a gate on Russell Street, replacement of the crummy fence on Fayette Street with a wooden fence that matches the same spec and style as the one we put in across the street. And then further, we asked that the city consider putting in sidewalks or replace the sidewalks that are in bad condition within the 400 block of Fayette Street. We walk that several times a day. And we see it very close and very upfront. It's been kind of fascinating being there. When I tell you that we're very happy there, we're really happy there. And the activity has shown some real improvement. For example, the day we moved in, there wasn't a single street light on Fayette Street that worked. NIPSCO maintains all of them. I'm happy to say that all dozen street lights now work. And that's one of the things that happens when you have activity on a street that was previously kind of quiet and left on its own. Any questions I can answer for any of you?
Discussion?
No, I just think it's a great, great project.
Recommendations?
Well, you better bring Mr. Pullen back up again, because
Nice to see you, Brian. Welcome.
Yeah, it was
he's got to be able to go for all three.
long time no see. This particular project is located in the downtown urban renewal area. And that plan dates back to 1972 with a major rewrite in 1995. So in looking at the 1995 version, they laid out the downtown as to what areas and how they should be developed. And this particular project lies in an area called District F, which was supposed to be designed as a support commercial area, providing for lower intensity commercial areas and back office and parking support. But it also did state that it would allow limited light industrial uses provided that they're compatible in the district. If you would look at the boundaries of this area, it does include the building that most people know as Mid-America Mailers and some of those other things that are right just north of Douglas Street. So that's kind of a long, skinny area. So the Firestone was in existence at the time that that plan was written, so it was recognizing that there were some non-traditional commercial uses located in the downtown. The downtown area is, this area is zoned C3 Central Business District, but this particular area has non-C3 uses in it. So some of these uses are C4 uses, some of them are borderline I1 uses. So some of the standards that we're talking about is adaptive reuse of buildings. They talked about focusing development on Oakley Avenue and then making sure that the parking lots are appropriate and well landscaped. So taking some of those components, trying to blend it in with this project, there's a lot, and I'm sorry, I kind of got off track, but I was talking about the zoning issues. One of the things that we determined relatively early on was the zoning, whether or not this use is compliant with zoning. And it does go back to the existence of the Firestone building. Firestone would have been considered a legal non-conforming use because it's a non-C3 use in a C3 zone. And this particular development is similar enough to that where that non-conforming status would continue on. It did not, Firestone had, he bought it in such a, prior to the 1 year passage of the 1 year from the closure of Firestone, so that allowed the non-conforming status to continue. Important technical things, and I know Jimmy is just happy if I'm going through all this detail, right?
I want to know it all.
Yeah, anyway, but all that goes down to how does the plan interpret it from a zoning standpoint, from a use standpoint, and it goes back to the phrase of, you know, if we call this C4 uses or limited light industrial uses, can this project be accepted in the plan in this area? So with all that, it then becomes a second component provided that they are compatible. And I think what Mr. Ferrantella was presenting, the issues of improving the fence, the landscaping, and all those things, those are certainly the types of things we want to see to improve the property and therefore make it overall compatible with the area. So we do recommend that the redevelopment commission make a determination that the proposed use is generally in compliance with the plan and the use is allowed provided that it is compatible with the overall character of the district. And subject to, and there's 6 things that I have it subject to. The installation of the fencing as proposed, bringing all the fencing up into good condition and to code, in particular the fence that is along the bike trail. Provide drainage, paving, and striping for parking between Fayette and the fence line that shows 1 fan accessible space, curb cuts, and 3-foot planting strips on the east, west, north side of the parking lots. Obtain all necessary permits. Any materials in the yard itself should not be installed higher than the 6-foot height of the fence. And no shipping containers, bulky or unsightly construction materials and equipment shall be stored on site. And then I did want to address one final comment about the sidewalks. I did check with the city engineer. He said that that part of Fayette has been designed, but has not been set for bids, or it's not on schedule to go for construction yet.
So I have a question. As far then as the sidewalks would go, how far in the future do we see that happening?
As far as, that's really a question for the city engineer and the councilman as to when they're going to schedule that. I didn't get an answer from Stan as to what he thought that would be.
Okay.
Any more discussions, commissioners? Mr. Sanfantella, we're glad you're happy at your new location. Thank you. Excuse me.
So then we need a
Motion?
motion for the determination of compliance with the plan for the Downtown Hammond Urban Renewal District #1 for Engineered Companies, Inc. at 472 and 475 Fayette Street.
That motion should be subject to the 6 conditions
Subject.
listed in Mr. Poland's recommendation that he recited.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Commissioners are present. You're welcome.
I'll just get him to get on the seat.
I drove by there the other day just to see what it was looking like, and I'm gonna wait till it's all done and go back.
Keep doing that.
I will, absolutely.
Cool building, stop in the office.
All right.
All the arched out windows and baseball.
I'll stop for coffee. Okay. Number 12, acceptance of bid for the sale of real estate for private operations of a shelter?
Madam President, you noticed an RFP for the private operation of a shelter, and it was properly published, but I don't believe you received any bids.
No bids were received, so that's off the agenda. This time,
Just note that we didn't receive anything.
we received no bids, okay.
You can go back to number 10, because I see Mr. Yaney has now arrived.
Welcome. Number 10, determination of compliance with the plan for the downtown Hammond Urban Renewal District #1 for Hammond Pest Control at 644 and 702 through 714 State Street. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I apologize. I had some logistical issues getting here, but I thank the commission for its indulgence.
It's kind of nasty out, we understand.
Yeah, it wasn't that, but long explanation I don't need to bore you with. Scott Yaney, here as the attorney for Hammond Pest Control. And we're here, hopefully this evening, to resolve an issue that has been quite long-standing. And I think, as Mr. Poland will eventually attest, there have probably been more eyes on the resolution of this and more thought given to the specifics of what I'll try to briefly address before you, unless there are more questions. But I think that after the involvement of, if I try to list everyone, all the department heads that were involved, I'll invariably miss somebody, but let's just say it's safe to say that it met with appropriate scrutiny, and I think we've arrived at a solution to a problem now that benefits the city and is worth moving on, hopefully, this evening. But essentially, what we're dealing with is a property on State Street near the corner of Jesse. I may have a little bit of trouble kind of fixing it. I have in my materials, I have an overhead view of it, and this is the site plan that was submitted. Hammond Pest Control, the building that they occupy, is actually to the west side of Jesse, so just they're situated right over here. And there is what is now green space, primarily, and a block building right down here. Some number of years ago, there was a containment issue from some product that had been stored there many years ago. IDEM has been involved in overseeing this for quite some time. They're actively engaged as well and have a plan that they have approved, subject to the commission approving what we're doing going forward. And part of the challenge has been to marry what the city would like to see done here and marry what IDEM would like to have done. But essentially, the way that we're going to, and IDEM agrees that this is the best way to remedy the issue, and city, I think, a good way to handle development in that area with something that will benefit the surrounding neighborhood. We are going to put a lot to, if you will, cap this property, contain the issues that we had here. There are monitoring wells to make sure that nothing expands beyond this parcel. But this cap will prevent the penetration of groundwater. And as Mr. Pullen can probably explain far better than I, there are drainage systems, interceptor systems to make sure that there is never any occasion where water gets down into the soil that would cause anything to migrate. If we even catch a hint of that, there are monitoring wells to make sure that doesn't occur. So that's what's going on, kind of to protect the beneath the ground, and there has been already substantial testing out there to make sure that everything has been well contained. On top, as you'll see, we are putting a parking lot. However, there are considerable efforts. You can't quite tell that from the drawings here. I think maybe some of the other materials give you a little better idea. But this lot will have a surrounding fence, but it's going to be placed on top of, it's a manufactured stone wall, but it'll be a nice appearance, and then it'll be an aluminum fence on top. So when this is done, it'll be an enhancement to that area. They're going to do a very good job. Mr. Poland, I can say, has worked very diligently to make sure that this is something that ultimately will be satisfactory to the city and the surrounding and the residents that surround that area. There are a number of other technical components that have gone into this. One of the things I mentioned, that concrete building, rather than excavating the foundation, the collective decision has been made that it's best leaving that foundation in place. But since we are doing work on that site, we recognize that we'll have to go before the Board of Public Works and obtain formal approval. However, I've already spoken to the city attorney, and I believe Mr. Novak, Brian has spoken with Mr. Cook and others that they're in agreement that can remain. So essentially, this evening, I'm asking the commission to favorably consider the request that's put forth in this petition to allow us to do the development on this property, which will, for once and for all, contain the property, obtain approval from IDEM. They continue to monitor this for many years to make sure there are no issues. But I think it's now at a point that, although it's taken us a long time to get here, we're at a point where we can move on with this project. And I'll maybe defer to Mr. That's twice. I do that because at the beginning of this process, or at least my initiation, was spending hours with Ron Novak upstairs. So it's just kind of out of habit right now. But Brian certainly carried the ball here for all of us for quite some time. So,
Thank you. You're welcome, Brian.
I think I've been called worse, but I'm okay. Yes, this has been a very interesting project on many levels. Anytime you're dealing with environmental concerns, there's a lot of questions and even a great learning curve for myself to understand really what goes into a project. So we've obviously depend very heavily on Ron Novak from HDEM to guide us through that. And we also depended upon the sanitary district, Jeff Massey and Standa Stotney, to get us through those components of it. Again, this is another project in the downtown urban renewal area. It's located in an area that's referred to as District D, which is institutional and a residential district. And it was obviously intended to recognize that there are residential uses nearby, just south across the alley from this site, and that there's a lot of churches, the library, and things are in the boundaries of this. But it also recognized that there were commercial uses that were interspersed in this area, and Hammond Pest Control was one of those existing businesses, commercial business, that were in the area. Being there for, I did look it up and I forgot to write it down, but being there for, I think, for pretty much so over 50 years at that location. So in recognizing that you have this commercial use within an existing area, it becomes how do you make that compatible and how does it fit in? And when we talk about being right adjacent to residential areas, it really is a factor of how does this parking lot, how's it going to fit in, how's it going to look? It is going to be elevated approximately 2 feet. That's related to the cap, that how they're going to cap the contaminants with all the liners and the soils and things like that. So that will be an issue of how it appears. So looking at the retaining wall really became a factor, is just making sure it's a good looking material, how that fence is going to look, because people are going to notice it. Some of the other things that came out of the project that will affect the main office building, anytime you design a parking lot, you have to provide for handicap spaces. And in the original design, the handicap space was going to be provided on this new lot. And that became problematic for a lot of reasons. There will be the appropriately be appropriate to add the handicap space to the main property at 64 State Street, and provide the proper accessibility into the building for customers or employees that may need to have a closer parking space. It was pointed out that there is the future step of going to the Board of Works to get basically a special permission to leave the foundation in the ground. And I think generally, I hope I don't overstep my bounds, but I think the city is clearly, the staff at least, is supportive of doing that. So in determining this, my recommendation for the Redevelopment Commission is to determine that the project is in compliance with the urban renewal plan. And there are actually 7 things subject to. My numbering system is a little off because I see 2 number 5s, but there is 7. And just for the record, the project continuing compliance with IDEM approved RCRA closure plan, and the simultaneous submission of all closure plan reports by IDEM to HDEM. And of course, that's clearly a concern by HDEM that they are in the loop, so to speak. The approval of the Board of Public Works and Safety for the exception to the ordinance requiring the removal of foundations for buildings being demolished. The approval of an operation and management plan by the sanitary district and HDEM prior to the issuance of permits. And that goes to making sure that the drainage system continually works, that it's cleaned properly. Every parking lot in this regard has to have an oil and water separator, and it all goes back to our water quality requirements and how the sanitary district processes stormwater. The installation of the wall and the fence is proposed, and the styles have been identified. That the accessible parking space provided at the 664 State Street meets all the ADA requirements. The project is constructed in accordance with the plans prepared by St. John Middlehauser and Associates dated January 9th, 2014. And if through the course of the construction of the project there's any technical modifications to the system, the drainage system, the oil water separator, or any of those related components, that those are of course subject to applicable codes, the inspectors, the permits, just the technical staff if something comes up in the construction phase.
Any questions for Brian?
He needs to speak.
Just real briefly, one of the things I didn't mention, and I think is a credit to Brian to point out, is that considerable attention was paid to the landscaping and the types of plantings that will be not only immediately in the immediate vicinity of the parking lot, but also to the east of the lot. And we had a lot of limitations, even to the sorts of things we could plant due to the environmental issues, but a lot of attention was given to that. So this will have a nice look and feel to it as well.
I have a question for Brian. I don't know if it's applicable or not, but why must the foundations be removed when you demolish a building? Do you know?
I know it's an ordinance requirement, and as to why they require it, I'm not 100% sure, but I think based on stories I've heard, where our current police station was, or is, I'm sorry, on Douglas Street, our current police station, that used to be a residential neighborhood. And there was, when people were demolishing those buildings, what they would do is that they would dump the debris inside the foundation and then cap it over with dirt. And so that becomes a very, very serious problem from a disposal issue. Perhaps there's fluids and things leaking in the ground. So I believe that's the basis of the requirement, that everything has to be taken out of the ground and proper fill put back in.
Yeah, because you can still have storage tanks and.
Exactly. From older houses, you would find that, yeah.
Okay. I saw that and it's like, okay, the light bulb's like, why? For me.
I just want to comment, the materials look like second to none that you're using, and Ameristar fence products, I see they're, manufactured in the USA too, so that's kind of a plus.
Any direction, Council?
No, Mr. Pullman's given this project his blessing, so.
Do you have any more questions? Okay, discussion. Can we get a motion?
I can, you want me to I can make a motion and then read those 7 again, if you like.
I think, Brian, you read those?
I did read them.
Can we just do a so move?
So move would suffice?
Well, I think you need to make a motion that there is compliance with the plan for the downtown Hammond Urban Renewal District number 1 for Hammond Pest Control at 644 and 702 to 714 State Street, subject to the 7 conditions set forth in Mr. Poland's letter of January 29, 2014.
Now we can do the so move.
So move.
Second.
I didn't mind reading them, but thank you. Not a problem.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Number 13, got something for us?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay, Owana, you got something for us?
Yeah, I have a couple things.
All right.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone who participated in helping out with the homeless count last week. We assisted approximately 48 individuals that morning going into the evening, so I thank you very much. This Thursday is the 6th. We'll have our annual Black History Program. It's going to begin at 10 o'clock in City Hall downstairs on the first floor. If you can make that, I would greatly appreciate it. And lastly, we are currently accepting applications for our annual disability award ceremony. And that ceremony is going to take place on Thursday, March 6th at 8 a.m. at the Dynasty. That's it.
And what was that date again, honey?
For the disability breakfast, it's on March the 6th.
Did you say March 16? 6? Okay.
Okay. Years. All right. Thank you, Alana. Number 14, Bill.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for the payment of the Register of Claims, number R49848 through R49977 for the months of January 7th, 2014 through January 29th, 2014. But I did notice a mistake on the date on our form. It has February 4th, 2012. I would say that should be corrected before we.
Sorry, thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't make fun of Brian for his mistake.
Okay, got a motion?
Yes.
Can we get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present. Okay, number 15, new and unfinished business. What did I do with it? We'll get some of this. I just grabbed it up together. All right. Oh, where'd it go? I just had it. I grabbed it up with all sorts of papers.
The public notice for the
That's it.
action plan.
No, I gave her the. Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner, yes.
I'm asking that we hold a public hearing for the 2014-2015 CDBG Home ESG Annual Action Plan. In the, just to open up for a public hearing if anybody has any comments.
I got that other one too. That's for something. Do you have it? Picked it up with something else, I know I did. And that was the only one you had too, right? Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give it to
It's
her?
gotta be in here somewhere.
A notice? Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm confused.
We have to, that's for, that was the ad that was in the newspaper.
Notice of public hearing, 2014 City of Hammond Action Plan.
I need to make sure, because it was published in the newspaper for today.
I didn't hear you, honey.
No, it was published in the newspaper for today.
Okay,
That was the public hearing.
okay. The Commissioners,
So you need to open the public hearing. Any comments on the 2014-15 annual action plan? for the
okay, I will
CDBG?
open up the public hearing for the 2014 City of Hammond Action Plan, public We got any? The hearing is now open.
Close it.
The hearing is now closed.
Thank you.
Wanda, you're not looking for any action on that tonight, right?
No.
You're just holding the public hearing.
That's why I said,
Okay.
okay? All right. Okay, number 16, public comment. 3 minutes, please. Since we have no one who wants to speak, number 17.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I accept that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes